Matt, our live 2024 European tour is approaching, and some of the shows have already sold out.
Oh, I'm so excited that we've actually sold out Berlin.
I can't believe
that was the first one we sold out. That's blown my mind, and we're getting so close to selling out Bristol and a bunch of the other shows.
Yeah, Manchester, very, very close. Edinburgh, my goodness, only a few tickets left.
Grab them now. If you're thinking about you want to go, you're going to have to get on it because we won't be adding shows on this tour. Dave has booked it back to back to back. There's no room to add shows, unfortunately, but we're so pumped to get over there, so get on those tickets if you're keen.
That's right. This is the first 2 weeks of November. Tickets at dogoonpod.com.
We're going to Ireland, including Belfast. We're going all the way down from Edinburgh to London with a bunch of stops in between, and unfortunately Berlin, where you won't be able to go. But friends are on playing that night if you're in town.
We'll hang out at the gig together.
Yeah.
And these are the first 2 weeks of November, and these tickets are available right now at dogoonpod.com.
Hey, true crime fans. Tired of ads interrupting your gripping investigations? Good news. With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. After all, ads shouldn't be the scariest thing about true crime. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free true crime. That's amazon.com/ad-free true crime to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Hey, it's Danny Pellegrino from Everything Iconic. Ready to upgrade your style game without blowing your budget? Check out Quince. They've got all the good stuff, shirts and polos, activewear, and fine leather goods, all at 50 to 80% less than other high-end brands. And the best part? They're all about safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing. Get that luxury vibe without the luxury price tag. Hit up quince.com/upgrade for free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's quince.com/upgrade.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnocky, and as always, I'm here with Matt Stewart. Hello, Matt.
Hey, Dave. How's it going?
Well, thank you.
Quick question for you. How good is it to be alive?
Well, don't ask me. Ask our special guest this week. Please welcome to the show, Angus Gordon.
Oh, hello, everyone. Thank you.
Angus, what a pleasure. How good is it to be alive?
I guess it depends who you ask.
Yeah, well, I'm asking you.
Well, for me, at the moment, pretty good, but imagine some people, they struggle.
Yeah,
and I don't want to be too insensitive to them, and they think life is meaningless, it's suffering, and who am I to invalidate that experience?
That's true.
So I'll speak on behalf of them. It's terrible.
Okay. I knew we would get that kind of answer.
You are,
but for me, my life is amazing.
Yeah, good.
It's so good.
You're fair. Well, that Jess probably normally answers a similar sort of way. So that works out well.
Jess is fine, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, I bring up Jess. Jess, for new listeners, for everyone from the Angus Massive who are joining us for the first time today, Jess Perkins is usually the third member of this show, and she's fine. And a few people have been asking online where she is. I just want to say, on the record, there's nothing to worry about.
Well, you were showing me a photo of her holding up today's newspaper.
Yeah, that's right.
That's clear signs of life.
That's right, yeah. So obviously,
and we all know how much she loves print media.
Yeah, she loves print media.
Yeah, she's holding up multiple newspapers, actually. She's propping up the industry.
Yeah, I couldn't work out where she was from because the newspapers from all different locations.
Yeah. And she had 6 fingers, which was weird, but I think we're still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, that's classic Jess.
That is classic Jess.
She's trying something new.
Yeah. But the photo was definitely real.
Yeah, I believed it. Yeah.
The photo was real and Jess is fine. Now, Dave, do you want to explain how this show works?
Yes, what we do here, Angus, is we take it in turns to report on a topic. It's often suggested to us by one of the listeners. We go away, do a bit of research, bring it back in the form of a report. And we've actually invited you on to do that part of the show.
Yeah,
well, this happened, I think it was late at night after maybe the Do Go On quiz show at Comedy Republic. And I just had a rotation of people I was drinking with all day. And Angus was on the show that night, the stand-up show. And we had a lock-in. And at some point during that night, we were like, Angus was like, I got the best topic for Do Go On. And we're like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Jess is about to, go away for a bit, in inverted commas.
That's how good the topic was.
Yeah.
We made sure she wasn't here.
Well, she doesn't need to hear this. It's too good.
Yeah.
It's big.
Oh, people who don't know Angus, he's a stand-up comedian from Brisbane, now Melbourne-based. Raw comedy winner, which only the very best do.
That's right. I'm sitting here with the two back-to-backs, right? You won 1 year, Matt, then...
2014, 2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
Heavyweights. Titans.
Two of the most successful years.
Which it's,
People, when Matt won, they were like, you can't be more successful than this. But then I proved them wrong.
Yeah, I mean, but who remembers the other people who've won? Hannah Gadsby,
Who?
Josh Thomas.
Who?
Can't remember those names. Who are they?
Daniela Walker.
Not ringing a bell.
So there you go. So
I do actually know. I know that one.
Okay, well, yeah, Angus and I are the only two ones who've really broke through after the win, and
You're the two that don't have your own Wikipedia page on
Yeah.
the Raw Comedy Winners
I'm the
list.
most cooked raw comedy winner.
yeah, I don't know.
Nick's son.
Nick's son.
I saw Nick's son recently.
Yeah,
He's back.
he's back in my mind because
back.
he's doing a show in Sydney. Very, very funny guy back in the day.
Yeah,
Good to
amazing.
see him back.
Amazing comedian.
Yeah, incredible.
All right, Angus. So, Dave, did you explain the show?
Yes, I did explain the show. So Angus, he pitched the topic to you, Matt, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if you remember.
To be honest, can't remember. But it was late. I tell you, it was a lock-in. I think it was 2 a.m. and I'd been there since. When was our show? 3.
Yeah.
So it was a longish
You're
session.
about 38 beers deep.
Yeah, maybe. And
I don't want him. You were very drunk. No, he's not. I'm kidding.
I mean, I might have been a little tipsy.
Yeah.
Anyway, Angus.
No. It's all. Yeah. Well, let's start the show. Hey.
Yeah, we always start with a question. Yes, perfect. You know the format.
Who is Western Australia's most famous bushranger?
Ooh.
Okay.
And it's a good question, isn't it? Because you don't know the answer, so he's not that famous.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe we do.
Do you know?
Who do we know? Bushrangers, Ned Kelly.
Ned Kelly. Okay.
He's Victorian.
Victorian.
I'm pretty sure.
That's VFL Bushranging League.
Captain Moonlight. Is that one?
Oh,
That's another one. Victorian.
Victorian?
But also, he had been in New Zealand. He fought in the Maori Wars there.
Oh, really?
Captain Moonlight. Yeah.
Oh,
but
which side?
For the goodies. You work out who that is. No.
Home
He was
team.
also interesting because he couldn't stand the violence. He fought for the British in New Zealand, and he couldn't.
Man, that would have been. Ugh.
Yeah, he got injured, and he didn't want to return to the front lines. So he kept pretending he was sick, and they were like,
Because was he like, this doesn't quite feel right?
Well, they were murdering like women and children and stuff, and he was against that for some reason. So,
And then he's like, no more violence to me. I know the perfect career. I'll be a bushranger.
It is interesting that he did do that, and he was gay too, Captain Moonlight.
But rather than like work in a bank,
I think
he robbed the bank.
He tried to go straight, and then it's just tough.
Yeah, okay.
I think
There was like a cost of living crisis back then. So
Guys, it's been gone for a long time now.
He was known as Captain Moonlight for that reason. He was working at a bank and
robbing them at
robbing
night.
at
He was moonlighting.
The original Bruce Willis.
Well, this bushranger is the second most famous bushranger with Moon in his name.
Oh, so there's Moon in it.
Moon
What
in
about
the
Captain?
name.
Because I do like
No captain.
having, okay, Moon.
And he had never
Knight.
been a soldier. This one had never been.
Moondog, Moon
Moondog would be an amazing
Moon
bushranger.
River?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Bad Moon Rising.
Is Moon the surname?
No.
Lawrence Mooney, the Moon Man.
It is Lawrence Mooney. I wouldn't say he's a bushranger, definitely a criminal. No, just kidding. Lawrence, we love you.
Is it something like, Johnny Moon or something like that?
It's Moondyne Joe.
Moondyne Joe.
Never
You ever heard of
that.
Moondyne Joe?
Which is funny because you reckon you've told me that, but that does not ring any bells at all. Moondyne
As I said,
Joe.
you were so drunk.
Cap and I Joe? That's right. That's right.
So Moondyne Joe, right? He's interesting for a bushranger. He's not really famous for robbing.
Oh.
When you think bushranger,
Yes.
obviously you think bush and ranging.
Mm-hmm.
But you think about their robberies, right?
Yeah.
Which he did do a little of. But what he's most famous for
He
is...
dabbled.
He dabbled. He's most famous for escaping prison.
Oh.
Love a prison escape.
He's a big prison escape guy. He kept escaping.
So he really was, his real art was in the escape. So he only stole to give him the opportunity to do what he loved.
He was bad at not
Escaping.
getting caught.
Right.
But he was great at
But
escape.
once caught, don't worry, I got it from
He's
here.
You think
gonna
you'd be
get
good
out.
at both of those. If you're good at escaping, you're good at eluding the prison guards and stuff.
For sure, but maybe if you love escaping so much,
Yeah.
You got to get caught so you can escape
Once
again.
you get a taste for it.
Yeah.
This is like pre-Houdini, where you could like put the chains on and do it in public for money.
He did some real Houdini ass shit.
When are we talking? 1870s or something like that?
A bit earlier, brother.
Ooh,
A little bit earlier. Late 1860s was his most famous escape.
sick.
Yeah.
That's
Very close.
A little bit. Sorry, not 1870s. Earlier, late 1860s.
I'm saying 1867, 68.
Yeah, so you're gonna take what is it? 1820?
I
something?
assumed, yeah, a bit earlier.
Sorry, mate. The decade it's actually 2 years before that.
Yeah. Well,
Because it was
you
like,
want to be historically
I love
accurate.
that you're accurate.
that was the sort of the golden age for bushranging, wasn't it? And do we need to explain what bushranging is?
It depends when you want to say the golden age is. So bushranging, it really starts in like Tasmania. I think people think it's a Victoria. We had the late era, right?
Right.
Ned Kelly, 1880s, like sort of the end of the bushranging era, the last big bushranger.
Yeah.
But it starts in Van Diemen's Land, you know, and why it gets going initially is because, you know, they're starving to death. So how can they feed themselves? How can the white settlers feed themselves? There's lots of kangaroos. They give just convicts guns to kill the kangaroos.
Right.
But they have to bring the meat back to the government store.
Okay, now come back. Bring the gun back.
Exactly. And they don't.
Oh, you're pointing the gun on me?
And
The
they
kangaroo's right there.
choose not to.
That's really good.
And because they're kind of the most powerful, in some respects, they're the most powerful men in the community because they have access to food. They're the ones bringing in the food,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
So if you're, and then, you know, there becomes a network of like small landholders who are like, I don't want to buy from the government or buy it cheaper straight from the bushranger. And you have convicts on like tickets to leave. So they're working on different farms around the place that are secretly supporting these like banditti. That was the original name for bushrangers. They had an Italian name.
Banditti.
Banditti.
That's sick.
Banditti. It is cool. I wish we stuck with that.
Yeah, I really like banditti.
Yeah, the last Aussie banditti.
Because I imagine, because we do have quite a few overseas listeners, probably 2/3 of our listenership or more are from overseas.
So roughly 66.67%. Roughly, not exactly.
recurring.
Yeah.
Actually, 65. I'll pull you up on
You
that.
pull it, it's actually 65. There we go.
But yeah, so to them, you'd explain it. They're like bandits. They're outlaws.
Yeah, they're outlaws, they're robbers.
Our version of highwaymen.
A lot of them had been highwaymen in the UK, like Matthew Brady, one of the famous.
We've done an episode about him.
He was a highwayman.
Gentleman
Gentleman bushranger. So he was he was the last sort of bushranger in Tasmania that posed like a significant threat to the government. Because you probably covered it. He took over the town of Sorrento.
Yeah, it was a while ago, but that could have happened. Andy Matthews told the story. Do you remember this one, Dave?
Yeah. I remember it.
And he was killed along with the convict Jim Jeffries. The ghost of Jim Jeffries, the stand-up comedian,
comedy convict,
who, had been the flogger of the town, and then wasn't enough sadism, so he went bushranging. But yeah, Brady didn't like being killed next to this monster.
Oh yeah,
and remember he was captured by Batman, who founded Melbourne.
Oh, who was apparently a pretty bad guy as well. John Batman.
Yeah, John Batman. He was a bit of a bad guy if you don't like massacres.
And I don't.
You're against. I've heard you're against them.
I used to be quiet about it, but I'm going to start saying out loud. Not a fan of massacres.
Yeah, the Ben Lomond, no good. That black. Anyway, no good. But anyway, so Tasmania is where it gets kicked going. Obviously into New South Wales, but WA has its own history of bushranging, and WA is an interesting settlement, right? Because it started off as a free colony for free settlers. It was basically a land grab. Like it was going to be a big money-making opportunity for private investors. And they were like, yeah, it's going to be sick. What you're going to do is the government will allocate private investors land based on how many settlers they'll bring to the colony. But when they got there with Captain James Sterling in 1829, he'd been there previously in 1827 exploring, and he's like, the land here is so good. We're going to get rich. Yeah. And then he got there and it's like only really a couple of kilometers of actually nice land. And it's really bad.
If you look at like one of those maps, like topographical or whatever, you can see that the green is really just hugging the boundary of
tiny bit
Western
of green.
Australia.
Yeah, real no good.
Well,
it's proper desert.
Well, the government still treats WA in a similar way.
Yeah.
Sort of sending private companies over there to dig stuff up.
Well, without the digging stuff up, there's no point for that place.
Yeah. I also don't think we have an economy for
there's nothing there that's going on. So like it was going to be a free settlement, but they couldn't get any free settlers to come because it's a shithole. Some people say Perth is a shithole. That's not true. That's not fair. Shit is actually a very good material to grow plants in, which Perth isn't.
Perth is great. They have some of the best beaches in WA.
Beautiful beaches, but have you ever tried to grow crops on the beach? It's hard work.
Right.
Yeah.
So they need convicts, right? They basically couldn't get any free settlers, so they were like, we need slaves. How can we get slave labor? And slavery had been abolished in the British Empire in 1833. And James Stirling, who was the governor of the Swan River colony, as it was called at the time, he was trying to get laborers from India and China to come over, like indentured servants. And his family had gone real rich through the slave trade. That's another story we can go into another time. But anyway, he was like, we get these Chinese guys, these Indian guys, we can start growing cotton in WA. And what you do is we'll pay them such little amount of money and like a bit of rice, and then they'll never be able to leave. Because they won't have enough money to leave, but we'll be able to outcompete those evil American slavers. But I don't think he really understood why slavery was bad. He thought it was like just not profitable enough. See, if you pay the money, then you can just take the money back for rent, and then they still will be stuck.
Yeah, he sort of thinks he's found a loophole. It's not really, you can't call them slaves. I'm paying them.
I'm paying them less than it would cost to keep a slave.
You don't, yeah. That's not slavery when you're paying.
Absolutely. So that ended up, the government didn't go with that, but they ended up going. He couldn't convince them.
You're an evil man.
But I bet you they were like, we don't see the business here.
Yeah, they weren't morally opposed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. And a big part of he wanted to connect Perth to the Indian trade routes, you know what I mean? A big part of Perth's problem is it's just so far from everywhere. Like it's
the most isolated capital city in the world,
pop
isn't
stars
it?
don't like going there now.
Yeah.
Can you imagine how like traders didn't want to go there when it was on a boat?
That's
so far, man. And again, another reason they wanted to stop it was like they founded it because he kept being like, oh, the French are going to take it. The French didn't want it.
He's worried about the French coming over.
Yeah, every city in Australia, you look up, why do they start the city? It's like, the French might want it.
Imagine if we had like a French colony in Perth. That'd be amazing.
Yeah,
it would be
our Montreal.
Yeah, it could have been.
Adelaide's sort of like it was a bit of a German settlement, wasn't it?
A lot of Germans came, but the French they'd mapped the southern coast of Australia. Bordin, the captain he'd met up with Flinders on a ship. They were mapping the territory at the same time, and he went back to France and he wrote Terra Napoleon on the map. And the British were like freaking out, like, oh my god, this is a British continent. You know, we don't want it to be called Terra Napoleon, which obviously means like Napoleon land, but also it could be the terror of Napoleon.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Pretty bad.
That's good wordplay.
Sounds like a movie in which Napoleon is some sort of zombie. Yeah. Where he's eating the brains. That's why the French Revolution happened. They cut off those heads so you can get those brains.
Oh, makes sense.
Makes sense now.
Or they were the zombies, right? And that's the only way you can kill them?
I guess you have to destroy the brain. Like at Waterloo, Wellington's just like, shoot the brain, boys.
The Red Terror Napoleon.
A lot of that doesn't come through in the history books.
They don't mention it as much, but that's the subtext. So
I just need to quickly let the listeners know Angus is doing this all from the top of his dome.
I also wanted to bring attention to that. You're going Nick Mason style, who comes in here and talks about like the history of Marvel for about 100 years without any reference material in front of him. You are absolutely just riffing this. The dates are coming out left, right, and centre. I'm thoroughly impressed, good sir.
Most of this came to me in a dream.
None of this is true.
If you were just riffing, you are improvising. At the end, you were to say, and scene.
Yeah. So anyway, we're establishing why convicts happened in Perth, right? The York Agricultural Society was like, we need labourers. We need labourers. Can't get enough free labourers. We need labourers. And so the compromise, and you can imagine if you were a free settler who was there to work, you're like, I don't want slaves. Like, who hates slavery more than a free worker, apart from maybe slaves? Imagine if your job, right, like a slave started working at the cubicle next to you on the spreadsheets. You'd be like, I'm not getting that raise.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm getting that raise. You're like, hey, what are you having for lunch? And he's like, what's lunch? You're like, I'm done. But anyway, so they did a compromise. The compromise solution was they brought out these kids called the Pankhurst Boys, the Pankhurst Apprentices, which were child convicts.
Okay.
We're not evil.
Like 12 to 15-year-old boys, right, who had committed crimes, and they were sent over as apprentices to work for people. They were people would be like, were they slaves? Well, could they leave their apprenticeship? No. Were they free to go where they wanted? Absolutely not. Were they paid? Not really.
Yeah. So you're free to swim home at any time you like.
Yeah. The first person executed in Perth was one of the apprentices, the Pankhurst apprentices. He'd killed his employer's son, and then he was sent to jail. Apparently, he only confessed the night before to the priest, and he was so little that they had to add extra weight to his legs.
My God.
To hold it, like, so that he would actually drop properly.
So how he was still a teen?
15, yeah.
Jesus.
So sad, man. Anyway, so that didn't, that wasn't not enough. These boys were not enough.
This better be factual. If you've just thought of that, you're an evil bastard.
Well,
that came to me in a nightmare, that one. No, I read that in a book about Fremantle Penal Colony. So in 1850, they got convicts. Nowhere else in the world really wanted to accept British convicts at this point. They were still being accepted in Van Diemen's Land and in Canada. Obviously, America had long ago refused British convicts, and New South Wales didn't want them anymore. Queensland didn't want them. Victoria didn't want them. There's a huge anti-transportation league.
These are all states in Australia. Victoria's where we are now.
Yeah, look it up yourself. If you're listening to an Australian podcast.
Van Diemen's Land is Tasmania.
Tasmania now, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was a mistake. Van Diemen's Land, much superior.
Well, that was a part. No. That's the reason why they changed it, man. Because there was such stigma about being a ex-convict or convict from,
right.
And they would call them the demons.
Yeah.
It's right there, dude. They're doing the wordplay themselves.
Yeah.
They're like, we cannot be having this demon moniker going on. This is not good for us.
And then they name their most famous animal a devil.
Yeah,
what are they thinking?
They're not thinking. They're not thinking.
But it's named after Abel Tasman.
Yes.
So they could have just called it Abel, and they would have been like, "Yeah, we're able.
Yeah,
we're really
Abelland.
We can do stuff." Okay.
Yeah, but then they probably would have got that disabled.
Okay.
And that's when people weren't as progressive as we are back then. Anyway, so
I only look at things in the positive light.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you
Dave refuses to see negatives.
So the other states they didn't want it anymore. There was they call it the stain or the taint of transportation of convict labor.
Oh, right.
Which I understand why you call it the stain and the taint, because the taint, even though it's a clean area itself, it has it does have the stain of being close to the arsehole.
Yeah, what I mean? Yeah. It is arsehole adjacent.
The proximity.
Yeah.
So the other states were like, we don't want to be having any. We don't want Perth to get convicts because we'll get the taint. We'll be the taint of their stain. You know what I mean?
It makes sense.
It makes sense. They think the convicts are going to... Like, during the gold rush in Victoria, right, they were like, all these fucking convicts from Van Diemen's Land are going to come out here, cause lots of crime, And they did. They did cause a majority of the crime. So sometimes you shouldn't stereotype, and sometimes they are very accurate stereotypes.
Well, stereotyping criminals as people who might commit crime.
Who might commit more crimes, yeah. Well, it
Especially
is...
like you were saying before, when they don't have enough food.
So when it was tough.
They have to steal to
survive.
Subsist.
But I mean, they were coming from a place where they had to steal to survive as well, probably.
And some of them got rich as hell during the gold rush. That's another story for another time. But while the gold rush was going on, incidentally, 1851, or was it 52 when they found gold in Ballarat? Off the top of your head?
51.
So 1850, just before the gold rush starts, Perth gets its fully grown convicts. Because before, I was talking about the little boys. That was the compromise, the Pankhurst boys. And you're like, well, it's not as bad as convicts because they're little. You know what I mean? They're little. They're barely around. But it wasn't enough labour. So they got 1850, they get their first convicts. And this is now where Moondyne Joe comes into the picture. So Moondyne Joe, he was born John Barilius Johns, Joseph Barilius Johns.
So he was like a gladiator or something.
They dude, man, they love these fucking crazy. I've been looking up some of these guys. They love a crazy middle name.
Yeah.
Barilius
is fantastic.
Yeah, like I was reading some one of Adelaide's first sort of officials. His middle name was like Severus. But they all have normal, what we'd consider normal first and second names, and then they're just going hog wild with the middle name.
Well, I think that's what the middle name should be.
I agree. We should go back to that.
Yeah.
Just throw in whatever you want.
A bit of fun.
What's yours?
Edward.
Yeah,
it's nothing.
Me and David dull ones as well. The same dull one. James.
Yeah, that's a common one.
Very dull. What a waste of space.
I would kill for Barilius.
Yeah, or Hog Wild.
Hog Wild.
What about that for a middle name?
Well,
Dave Hog Wild Warnocky.
Yeah. Is it hyphenated or two middle names? He's Hog Wild.
Yeah, just call me Hog.
He was born in 1831, Moondyne, somewhere in the United Kingdom. People don't know exactly where. But they say maybe Wales or Cornwall. Similar sort of West Country kind of thing. I think when you're that, you're very poor, No one's
They're taking huge records.
They're not the records. And in 1848, a police sergeant stops Joe and one of his friends walking along the street at like 8:30 at night, and he's very suspicious. What are you doing up that late? You know, what do you do? What are you
doing at 8:30?
2:30, sorry. Did I say 8:30?
Okay, I thought you said
8:30, yeah. That would be suspicious because that's dinner time.
Why aren't you at home watching the bill?
And he's caught. They get searched. They stopped and frisked. You know, it was like New York under Giuliano back then. You could stop and search.
Right.
Did you base it on what they were doing in Cornwall?
They based it on Cornwall. They based this on Moondyne Joe. New York will come into the story later.
It is funny how people talk about how you can't do anything anymore. Everything's a nanny state. Times before now were probably often worse.
Yeah, well, that's the thing with the convict thing. Like, I know a lot of people go like, "Oh, convicts, they were sent here for like really bad crimes and stuff." But you can look up the registers yourself, and it's like it really was often like stealing.
Not a bit of bread.
Moondyne Joe got caught with 3 loaves of bread, 1 partially eaten. 2 rashers of bacon and various cheeses.
Oh, he was putting on a spread.
Yeah. He had a charcuterie board.
What are you in for? Charcuterie.
And do you want to know what his sentence was? What he was sentenced for this?
They said you have to eat all of this cheese right now.
That will come up. Yeah, he should have. If only he had. If only our boy had.
Is that what he was trying to like a drug dealer flushing stuff down the toilet? That's why that bread was half eaten.
Yeah,
he was trying to destroy the evidence.
Quickly.
He's guilty of having leftovers. So he got 10 years for that.
Yeah, it feels about
It feels about right. But apparently,
I mean, it depends what kind of cheese it is.
yeah, these fancy cheeses.
this is another thing that came to me in a dream, but it's disputed. It's all stuff that's disputed, but he'd gone before the judge, right? And he represented himself in court, as you do. You know,
right.
we've all seen, DUI shows. You've got to represent yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he gets 10 years. And apparently other people...
If you got a lawyer, you would have got 1.
Apparently a lot of people who were charged with similar crimes, but they were given like 2 to 3 months by that judge on that day. Yeah. He fucking...
He went up to the judge. Your Honour, if I should say that, I mean, it's not a real honour to talk to you piece of shit.
Yeah, he went hog wild. He had his day in court. And boy, what is a day. What a day.
You get up, they get an 18-hour filibuster.
Yeah, so he then spends a couple of years just like in English prisons, and then he was sent to WA to finish off his sentence. And he got a ticket.
Wow.
He got a little bit of time in like Fremantle, and then he was given a ticket to leave. So basically, you can go out and work in the community, you know, because like they were using the convicts to like build roads, to build the prison, build different public buildings.
So do you reckon he's happy to go to WA because you do get a bit more freedom than just being locked up all the time?
Maybe. I don't know, man. I think some people like that's the interesting thing about the convict system was in certain parts it's like just totally brutal. It depends where you went in the system. Totally brutal. Like some of the prisons, like the worst conditions you can imagine. Being on the ships, the transportation itself was like horrific. Lots of people died on those ships. Like, you know, you're locked up in the hull for like 9 months.
Yeah, and you hear about the food just being worm ridden or maggot ridden, probably.
Yeah, and even though they had, I think Captain Cook was one of the first guys to sort of deal with the problems of scurvy. There were still scurvy outbreaks. They didn't always get it right, you know, like having fresh food available. I think it could be really, the transportation itself could be horrific.
Yeah, they do margaritas now to combat that, don't they?
Now on most cruises it's margaritas. That's why you get the lime.
Yeah.
The lime is to combat scurvy. So, but then in other respects, you're right, man. Like you could go out and work, and some convicts got really wealthy. Like one of the guys who actually financed Perth was a convict called Simon Levey. He'd been sent to Botany Bay, New South Wales, as a convict for stealing a chest of tea. And while he was there, he married a wealthy emancipist daughter. Emancipist is a convict who's had their time spent, like they've done their time, and he became incredibly wealthy. He had rope factories in Tahiti. He had a bunch of different businesses. He became so rich when he returned to England. He returned on a ship that he owned.
That's
he had rope factory money.
He had that rope money. You see that rigging? I own that.
Yeah,
that's from my factory.
That's one of mine.
And so he Thomas Peel, who was an aristocrat in England, sort of a fail son, a bit of like a wastrel. if you will.
A wastrel?
A bit of a wastrel.
That's fantastic. We've never had that word on the show before. I'm almost certain of it.
You've never had a smart gas.
Or host.
yeah, definitely.
No, you guys are brilliant. I'm a jerk. No, like, so these were the guys that were going to finance the Perth settlement, right? But Thomas Peel, who was convinced to do this by James Sterling, his backers dropped out. They wanted 4 million acres of land from the government. The government's like, no, you can have like 1 million. Like, and there's no way you can bring out 10,000 settlers. It's not going to happen. But Simon Levey was the silent backer. He came in and he was very charmed by Thomas Peel because Thomas Peel's this aristocrat, and Simon Levey he got no respect, no esteem neither. Partly because he was an emancipist, a convict. That stain and the taint didn't go away. And also because he was Jewish, and there was anti-Semitic times. So he was really charmed by Thomas, and he gave him the money, but Thomas didn't put his name on any of the books, didn't tell the government. So when Perth is failing, Thomas Peel, that's another story, like totally fucked up his settlement. Like, it's insane. You could do a whole story on Thomas Peel, but he never told Simon Levey what was happening. So Simon Levey went to the government like, so what's going on in Perth? And they're like, we're not telling you. Your name's not on the books.
Oh.
And then he died a year later, apparently of a broken heart. But I don't know if that's true. I think people romanticize, because when his wife, Simon Levey's wife, left him, remember when she was married, and then he put out she left him for another man, and he put out a thing in the newspaper being like, I'm not paying any of her bills. If she asks for credit, I'm not paying it.
He put that in the newspaper?
He put it in the newspaper.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how you communicate.
He just took his
back
son and just went back to England. Yeah, he was just like, fine.
What do they mean by that? Broken heart, dying of a broken heart?
I think maybe you just lose the will to live. I think that's what they say. But I think people just died back then a lot, So anyway, that's an example of a convict who did get very rich.
Yeah.
There were opportunities. So it's an interesting system, right? But Moondyne Joe, right? So he gets a job. He's capturing escaped horses, and then he has to like return them to whoever owns them. And he captures a horse that doesn't have a brand mark on it. So he thinks like, fuck, this could be my horse.
It's a free horse.
This is a free horse. This is fucking my horse. So he brands it, but that actually is technically horse stealing.
Oh, once you've branded it.
Once you've branded it, you have stolen that horse.
Right.
So he gets arrested for that.
And do you come up with your own brand? You can have whatever symbol you want.
Yeah, man, I think so. He went with the Nike tick.
Yeah.
Mine would be a shuckers, I reckon.
You'd be a shucker? Straight in.
Yeah. I'd heat up my hand.
Dude, if that horse had the fingers to do the shucker, it would not be doing that to you.
But so how did he get done if it had no brand?
Well, that's hard to know, man.
Okay.
It's lost into the mist of time.
Yeah.
But apparently he got done, right? I think maybe someone went like, how did you get a horse?
It's like...
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah.
They talk about like nanny state stuff. It's like, I've just got a horse.
It's my horse, brother.
It's my horse. Look at this.
It's a wild horse. I captured a wild horse.
Yeah, it's a Brumby. Or it was a Brumby now. I've tamed this steed.
He broke it.
Yeah.
He broke it.
Broke it emotionally and physically.
It's a very small horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I said it was...
Anyway.
I told her it looked silly. I've told her so many times that it ended up going...
Died of a broken heart.
There's other people say he did that. Some people say he stole the magistrate's brand new saddle and bridle. But I like the horse stealing story better because... And you'll hear why. He escapes from jail. He re-steals the horse that he's already stolen.
Well, it's his horse.
It's his horse.
Oh, that's double jeopardy. Can't be done for stealing the same horse twice.
What do you think he does with the stolen horse?
Oh, I imagine he probably takes it to the Kentucky Derby.
He kills it.
Okay.
And
if I can't have it, no one can.
He cuts out the brand mark.
Oh.
And then he goes, I cannot be how can you prove that I stole the horse? There's no brand mark.
And they're like, you're holding the horse's hoof in
he's
your
got
hand.
horse blood all over your hands.
We saw you did it in the town square.
They say that could be any horse's blood. So he's learned from his not destroying the evidence thing. He should have eaten that bread, those various cheeses.
Yeah.
He's like, destroy the evidence. He breaks out, he kills the horse, he cuts off the brand mark. He's like, prove that I fucking never stole it.
He ate the horse.
They go, you know what? Fair enough. He was going to get 10 years.
They went, well played, sir.
There's
like,
a lot of...
damn you.
They're like...
damn you, that's good, but you're right.
He's no big city lawyer.
Yeah.
But he's got us. So he gets 3 years for breaking out of prison instead of the 10 he was going to get for for stealing a horse. So
for re-stealing it, or
he's never done for re-stealing it. They can't prove he's ever done that. He just you just aren't allowed to break out of prison even if you were not in prison for anything they can prove.
Right.
Apparently 2 in 5 convicts sent to WA were sent for either being drunk or absconding from jail. So pretty minor thing. I mean, if you go to Perth these days, you could arrest the whole town for being drunk on a Saturday night. Am I right? Am I bloody right?
Yeah, down, what's that street?
Huddle?
Northbridge.
Northbridge. In the Northbridge area.
Northbridge area, yes.
Bit of a war zone on Saturday night.
Yeah.
It is full on, walking down there.
Yeah.
Well, so you've just done a show or something, and then you forget what day it is of the week,
yeah,
and you're walking down that main strip there, you're like, holy shit.
Don't make eye contact.
Just bodies flying hither and thither. Real wastrels.
There's a lot of wastrel energy.
Big wastrel energy.
Anyway,
Is that actually what WA stands for? Wastrel?
It does stand for
Wastrel
wastrel.
Australia.
Yeah, Wastrel Australia.
At BlueNile.com, you can find endless ways to make your moments sparkle. From classic and timeless jewelry gifts to creating the custom engagement ring of her dreams. All at prices you won't find at a traditional jeweler. And right now, you can save up to 40% on fine jewelry and 25% on engagement ring settings during the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale, going on now. Go to BlueNile.com to shop the Blue Nile Anniversary Sale and save up to 40%. That's BlueNile.com.
Hey, true crime fans. Tired of ads interrupting your gripping investigations? Good news. With Amazon Music, you have access to the largest catalog of ad-free top podcasts included with your Prime membership. After all, ads shouldn't be the scariest thing about true crime. To start listening, download the Amazon Music app for free or go to amazon.com/ad-free true crime. That's amazon.com/ad-free true crime to catch up on the latest episodes without the ads.
Anyway, so he's done for that, but that's not the end of, Moondyne Joe.
Do you know how he got the name? Because I can't figure it out.
It's apparently from the Moondyne Hills, where he was like,
okay, yeah, let's
hiding
I thought
out.
it might have been the Moon Cafe, the diner in Perth.
Oh, yeah.
24/7.
I would recommend you looking up what he looks like too. There's one photo of him, and he's like all in sort of like, I assume, marsupial leather, and he's got a little tomahawk, and he's got this kind of face like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh, yes. I'm looking at the photo that they've got on his official Wikipedia page.
Oh, wow.
yeah,
So is there
He
like
looks awesome.
it's like a poncho.
like a poncho sort of possum,
like a
kangaroo maybe.
pelt poncho. Possum pelt poncho? That's sick. And he's got big mutton chops.
Big mutton chops.
Oh, I've just looked up to see if anyone suggested this topic. 3 people have suggested this topic, Angus. 3 listeners. Kate Johns from Perth, Penny Tangy from Melbourne, who's also I think was a Raw finalist.
Yeah.
Kelly Minchin-Dale from Perth, and another Kelly from Cranbourne in Victoria.
And I would like to say before we move on, I have conflated the bridle stealing incident and the horse stealing incident, 2 different incidents.
Oh, right.
But anyway, so he gets 3 years in jail. He comes out, and then we get to the ox killing incident.
Oh. Is this again evidence he's destroying?
No, well, this one is interesting because
Oh, you made out with that ox. No, I didn't. What ox?
he's found guilty of killing an ox with felonious intent. I love felonious intent.
Felonious intent is great. Because do we have felonies here?
I don't know. I'm no big city lawyer.
To me, a felony just sounds American to me, but it
I think
probably
is America is also a common law country, right?
Right.
Like based on British. I don't know. Anyway,
We have looked that up before. There's 2. I think there's 2 different types.
Oh, okay.
so he
Anyway, I love the name. I love the word felonious.
He's pissed. He denies killing this ox with felonious intent. I don't know if he denies killing the ox or if he denies the felonious intent.
You can kill an ox if it's for food or humane
self-defense.
Yeah. But if it's...
He didn't know the shaka move. He didn't know the wah.
Yeah.
So he just had to kill that ox with the...
Well, yeah, I don't think Crocodile Dundee was released quite yet.
Hadn't quite happened yet. So he didn't know that you can just...
He didn't know the move.
You didn't use... You can hypnotize the ox into submission.
Yeah.
So he had to kill it with felonious intent.
Yeah. What a shame.
So he was once again returned to the convict establishment, Fremantle Prison. Joe was registered this time as colonial convict number 8,189. He was transferred in... I'm reading now. This is the first time I want to get some of these details
Yeah,
right.
okay, great. You didn't remember 8,189.
I didn't remember which convict number he was. I thought it was 8,169. But it was
Which
8.
one?
I was 20 off. He escaped again, but he was caught a week later and he was put back in jail. He loves escaping.
Yeah.
He's loving escaping. This time in 1866, he's placed in irons and he wants to get his case removed. He gets 4 years taken off it. In August, he successfully breaks free again. Like, he's breaking free so much.
What's he doing? And isn't it amazing that... Wouldn't there be a mark on his record saying... Don't let this go out of your sight.
Absolutely, and that's about to happen because this time
fool me once.
He goes back out.
Fool me 5 times. All right, we're going to start paying attention to this guy.
He goes back out to Tudier, where he was convicted, caught stealing that horse. I think Todd. I don't know how to pronounce it right. It's spelled Toddyay. Tudier. How would you say it?
Yeah, I think one of the ways you said sounds good.
Well, it was no longer Tudier to him, it was Tud oh no. Because he robs a general store, because he decides, him and some other convicts, they're going to cross the Nullarbor, which is this huge desert, which basically...
it's so big.
It's so big. It's
unbelievable.
How many days does it take to drive? Like a
3
week?
full days, 4 full days or something.
It's be very similar to crossing continental North America, right?
Yeah,
Maybe not quite Canada, but similar to probably parts of the USA.
It's probably like half the continent.
Australia. Sorry, from side to side, I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Nullarbor is it's like going... Yeah, it's going halfway or more.
Basically from like South Adelaide all the way to Perth.
It's
basically.
Probably more than half. Yeah, anyway. I always thought Nullarbor was an indigenous word.
Is it not?
It means no art, no trees. It's Latin.
There really is no trees.
Yeah.
It's so he robs this guy called Everett's store to get the supplies for his trip across the Nullarbor.
The guy's called Everett's store?
The guy's called Everett's store, and it's crazy that he owns a store. No, Everett, who owns a store.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought
you were doing a bit, but it was actual genuine confusion.
Yeah, you said he robbed a guy called Everett's store, and I went, oh my God.
But Everett, it wasn't... You know how often with robberies and stuff, it's like, it's just business, it's not personal. Apparently it was personal. He hated this guy, Everett.
They went out of their way.
Yeah.
3 days ride just to get to Everett's store to stock up.
He
I'm
stole
actually
so
doing
much.
this job at a loss.
He stole so much shit that Everett had to close the store.
Oh.
He ruined him. He ruined him.
He even took stuff you don't need to escape. He's like, don't take the TVs. You don't need those.
Yeah, they're weighing us down.
There's no reception. We haven't invented it yet. So he goes out and they get caught like a couple of days out into the Nullarbor by this Aboriginal tracker, and I think it's like he's kind of lucky he gets caught this time because he definitely would have died in the desert.
Right.
He would have died.
It's so far.
Yeah, it's no way they would have made
It's not like people who are pretty well prepared still die out there.
Yep.
Now.
Like with like a GPS beacon and and like 6 days supply of water.
He just had like a
And they've
chip on
got
his
full
shoulder
drive.
and a can-do attitude.
Yeah, he had that scowl and that little axe.
And his hatred of Everett.
I didn't kill that ox. So this time they're right, man. It's like, this guy, he is escaping too much. They're like, they create a special cell, an escape-proof cell that has it's like under the floor. You can't dig out of it. There's barely any light. There's barely any air. So he's getting like no natural light. He's chained up all the time. Some people say there's even spikes on the thing. Like it's some sort of he's like Hannibal Lecter. They've like locked him up. And remember, this guy's a guy who originally was convicted of stealing various cheeses. You have to remember the kind of the level of criminal we're dealing with.
The system has forever been such a nonsense. Like the amount of effort and money that's been put into punishing a guy who took some cheese.
Yeah, it's insane.
Just, it doesn't make any sense.
And back to it's because a poor guy who stole cheeses is now the worst criminal in the world.
Yeah.
Sterling, the guy who founded WA, he was a naval captain in the Caribbean. And the naval captains back then, during like the War of 1811, they were really incentivized to capture enemy ships because they only got paid £219 a year. But he captured 3 ships: the Maria, the Warren, and one other
Warren.
The Warren. I mean, crazy.
So good.
Sounds like a 1970s couple, Maria and Warren. Yeah, I went over their place for some little prawn cocktails.
Yeah, we played charades after.
Yeah.
Warren's so good.
Yeah, Warren's Maria's a beautiful host. You know?
She's lovely. Lovely, yeah.
Anyway, so he made £3,000 capturing ships. And then
Okay.
he decided he saw another ship, the Hercules. Or the Hercules. It was like a Argentinian ship. But it wasn't an enemy ship, but he captured it. Anyway, and he took it into Barbados.
he stole a ship.
ship. And then the governor of Barbados is like, brother, you cannot be stealing ships. That's not a ship you can steal. They had to let it go. Anyway, it got a bit outside Barbados. He stole it again.
I'll take it somewhere else.
He got found guilty of stealing it and was like being like sued constantly to pay back the money, which he's like not doing.
I love it getting sued.
Depending on where you are in the
he's
class
a rich
ladder.
man, like a naval captain, so he's not getting sent to jail.
No,
he's getting sued.
So
And-
he's the boss.
Yeah.
And he stole a ship. And this guy's in prison for stealing various cheeses. But anyway, he left by 1839 back to the UK. So
I changed my mind. The system has always worked.
Governor Hudson comes up to Moondyne, and Governor Hudson, I think it's Hudson, he'd been the convict controller in Van Diemen's Land before he became the governor of Perth. And in Van Diemen's Land, he'd come into trouble. He'd come under corruption allegations, which were found true in an inquiry where he'd been using the convicts for his own personal gain. He'd been having them like work for him for free,
Can
basically.
you build my house?
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Thank you so much.
Working as his slaves on his
Yeah.
property. Yeah. So that was, but Governor Hudson said to Moondyne, look, this is impossible to escape from here. If you escape, you're free to go.
That's sick.
That's a great wager.
That is so
It's a wager.
good.
They have a wager, a gentleman's
And Joe's
agreement.
like,
Yeah, he
Mortified.
he obviously can't speak because he's got like a big thing over his mouth. He's got a grill, like he's a fucking rescue greyhound. He's all muzzled up, you know.
So yes, so that's a great deal. I think that's fair enough as well. I don't, unless you commit more crimes, we're not going to
He says
search for you.
Absolutely. So he's dying though, basically,
Oh.
because he's locked up. He's
Oh, right. Okay.
just the Moondyne. You know, if you put someone in an environment with barely any air, barely any light, no light, and you never let them move,
Yeah.
he's slowly dying.
He's like
I thought-
Houdini or David Blaine or something, isn't he? It's like,
Yeah.
we'll put like 38 tons of concrete on top of you, and if you can get out of there, you're free to go.
Oh, something that Angus hasn't mentioned is that cell is suspended above the Thames,
The
in
Thames.
London.
And
So-
English people are getting really mad and pelting golf balls at him.
And there's also sharks circling underneath.
yeah.
Electric eels.
Yeah, that's interesting. I would have thought he's an English gentleman type Hudson, right? He'd give you a sporting chance,
It's
but
a
he's
sport-
not giving him any
There's
sporting
no
chance.
chance. That's why he's made the wager.
Yeah.
He's like, you cannot. It's like a real James Bond villain kind
He
of thing.
hasn't, like,
you know?
Yeah.
I'd like to see you escape from this, Mr. Moondyne Joe. the name's
and the
Joe.
circular store is moving
Yeah.
towards him.
And then he gets a call. He's like, "Oh, I've got to go," but I assume this will kill you. Goodbye.
Anyway, this is my plans for my evil plans for the rest of the day.
Catch you later.
So he's in the prison, and they're like, okay, he's dying. What we're gonna do? We're gonna give him some exercise.
Oh, I think you say we're going to give him a chance.
No
This has got
chance.
boring.
He's still chained up, but he's allowed now to be in the yard, and they bring out some rocks and a sledgehammer. He's allowed to break rocks.
Oh, okay.
A little
That's pretty-
treat.
a bit of you time.
Yeah.
A little treat. What would normally be a horrific punishment is
Yeah.
now like a little treat.
That's
And
how
he's-
bad the box is.
The box is so bad they're like a little. But what they don't do, and this is probably, I think, a broader problem with why so many people could escape in Perth was a lot of the guards who came to work in Perth had been British soldiers who were either too old or injured and they couldn't stay in the army. So they were like, no one wants to come and work in Perth. You can have a job in Perth and some land, but
They're nodding off.
they're nodding off.
Yeah.
They're like 95 years
And
old.
they're paid like nothing. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
95. They're crippled. They don't have
They're
legs.
like, "Oh, he's running away."
It-
Oh, whatever.
oh, wow.
So what happened was he was breaking these rocks, but they weren't clearing the rocks away from him fast enough. So the rocks built up around his waist and obscured like what he was doing below. So
What's he doing below?
what's he doing below?
He's having a little wank.
Well,
little
that was his
U-turn.
first thought. But then he thinks, I've got a sledgehammer. So he has a go at the wall of the prison with the sledgehammer.
Hey, okay. Because they can't see him
They
because he's
can't
behind
see.
a
They
little pile of
can't. These
rocks.
big pile of rocks are built up. They can't see what
How
he's swinging
high
at.
is this pile of rocks?
It says up to his waist.
Okay. So he's doing low swings.
He's doing low swings. He's like, a few swings for
But
you.
they've also set him up right on the wall.
Well, I think it's not day one this is happening, is it?
Yeah. He's edged his way
He's
across.
edging
Oh,
his
you
way.
say so every day.
He's edging,
Every
and he's
day.
also
He's
making his
edging.
way across the yard.
He's making his way across the... When he gets his chance, he's like... tut, tut, tut,
A little bit here. So every day there's a few taps on the
a few
wall.
taps, and then he just goes bang, bang, bang. He breaks through. He runs out of the hole through like one of the prison guards' house, which is just backed up against the thing. And then he's on the run for 2 years. He escapes for 2 years.
Wait, why is he on the run? He wins.
Well, we'll get to that.
Oh, Hudson's a dog.
We'll get to that.
I mean,
And
I
he's
knew he was already.
Did he
but
just escape his chains as well?
Smashes him with... He's got a sledgehammer, dude.
God, this guy rules.
is this is Bushranger history? They
This
used
guy-
to give him the guns. Now they're giving him the sledgehammers.
He rules. He's on the run 2 years. He gets caught because he tries to rob a winery.
Oh, the cheese. He's back for more cheese.
He loves a charcuterie board. He loves a charcuterie board. Apparently, there's different conflicting stories why the police are there. Some people say the police were investigating a drowning that happened in the river, and then after the drowning, you're thirsty. You've looked at all that water.
Yes.
You need a tipple. So they're drinking at the winery. Some people say that they were already there doing other police work. I think they were drinking at the winery.
Yeah.
He tries to rob a winery, which is just full of the local police.
Oh, that is unlucky.
He gets caught. They send him back to Fremantle, and he says, "Hey, Hudson said I could go free because if I escaped the impossible room."
Yeah.
And then one of the jailers backs up his story. Says, "Yeah, Hudson's already left by this point,
Right.
But he's backed up." One of the
Well,
jailers
yeah,
says,
I actually heard that.
But
I
that
did
is
hear
also
that.
funny.
and then you know what they go? They go, "Fair enough."
That is so funny because he was so
and
now
let him go?
Yeah, he
'Cause
only
he
has to
was
serve a
robbing
little bit
it.
of time. Yeah, they go, "Fair enough."
Oh right.
I love that because they're like, yeah, you're free for the other charges,
Yeah.
but you have since committed another robbery.
But they're like, yeah, they kind of let him. They don't make him do fucking forever. Yeah. And he has a few more little incidents where he gets like 1 month here, 1 month there. But then he marries a woman. He goes off, he goes prospecting. He does a bunch of... He lives until his 70s. His wife dies. And in his 70s, they find him, early 70s, they find him wandering around South Perth, confused.
Oh, Northbridge. No, wait, is that South Perth?
I don't know Perth well enough, I'm sorry.
Close to the city.
Yeah, close to... They find him close to the city, and they put him in, a lunatic asylum. Old person. He's got dementia. He breaks out.
No. You can't
He
hold
knows
me.
no other way.
Yeah.
They put him in increasingly more difficult to escape prisons. He keeps escaping. The last thing, how some old
Hey,
people,
do we have
they
an-
can still respond to music. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah, they remember it. Yeah.
He remembers prison escapes. That's all he can do.
Shackles, walls. I know what to do.
He has nowhere to go. He just keeps escaping.
Does he? Do you have an escape count?
I don't have an
Because
escape
it
count, but
sounds
it's
like
a lot, brother.
it's like double digits.
I'm going to say 13. I just made that. That came to me just then. Not even in a dream.
Wow, a waking dream.
But yeah. And anyway, he inspires more escapes. Does
He go on the talking circuit?
He gets on he goes on Joe Rogan, and Joe's like, what do you reckon would win in a fight, a chimp or a gorilla? And he goes, a gorilla, brother. And,
have you seen this great photo of me with an axe? Pull it up, Todd, or whatever the guy's name is.
Well, like we were talking about,
Angus, what's the guy's name who pulls up things?
young Jamie.
Pull it up, Jamie. We'll edit that together so it sounds like I knew. Todd.
So a bunch of Fenians, Irish Republican brothers, they are sent to Perth on the Hougoumont in 1868, right? Perth had said we don't want any political prisoners, but they get them. And it's the last convict ship sent anywhere in the world. British convicts sent anywhere in the world. Is to Perth in 1868.
Hougoumont.
The Hougoumont. I'm probably saying that wrong, but
Oh no, I have no idea. I just haven't heard it before.
so it's the last convict ship sent anywhere. Perth still wants more convicts. They're like,
They just don't want those convicts.
no, well, they don't want those ones, but they're just like, please keep sending convicts. Our whole economy is based on convicts.
Right.
They've got 20,000 white residents by this point, and about 9,000 are convicts or their descendants. The whole thing is convicts, and the British government is paying for everything. They're paying to send them there. They're paying the wages for the guards. They're paying.
Yeah, right.
They're paying for to feed the convicts. They're pretty much the only people buying Perth grain. The whole economy is convicts. It's not until when Kalgoorlie, they discover gold in Kalgoorlie in 1902, that basically Perth picks up as an actual place.
Because otherwise it sounds like it would have died if they weren't replenished with convicts.
It was languishing, right?
They're chucking coals on the fire sort of thing. This is
They're just keeping
shoveling convicts.
So, anyway, one of the convicts is this guy called John O'Reilly, right? He's a writer. He was in the British. A lot of the Fenians who were brought out, they were in the British Army, and they'd refused to fire on like Irish protesters. They'd refused to kill them, and you go to prison for that. You know, it's almost
refusing to fire.
Yeah, refusing to fire. It's up there with stealing various cheeses. But anyway, so this guy, he's also a writer. He gets caught and charged for treason as a young guy, O'Reilly, and
because he didn't want to
shoot on the
fire on his country.
Well, he wasn't one of the ones that did that, but he was caught trying to recruit more people from his regiment into the Irish Republican Brotherhood, the Fenians. He gets sent to prison. He tries to escape a couple of times there. He loves to escape. He gets sent eventually on the Hougoumont to Perth, and on there he starts his own handwritten newspaper called The Wild Goose.
Oh,
that's a great name.
It's a great name. The Wild Goose. And he's going to make him chase.
And he said handwritten.
Yeah, handwritten.
So how many copies? One?
Well, apparently one still survives. He made multiple editions and
He
stuff.
would just write them out.
He wrote them out,
That'll
and there's one still in the New South Wales State Library, which I'd love to see one day.
Yeah.
Or if any of our listeners get a chance to have a look at it, it'd be very interesting. Anyway, so he's a writer. He's in prison in Perth. He becomes friends with a local Irish priest, like an Irish priest, a Catholic priest, and they decide, we're going to escape. We're going to send you back. We're going to send you to America. So the priest gets an American whaling ship called the Vigilant to agree to take him. So he absconds from his work party. He hides out in the dunes, and then he rows a boat out, but the ship takes off. The ship ignores him.
No,
it reneges on the deal.
So he's just rowing after a ship.
Yeah, he's just like,
off.
please,
come on.
So he has to row back to shore,
Yeah.
hide out in the dunes again for a couple of days. The priest comes back. They agree to get another ship to take him. The American ship called the Gazelle. The Gazelle takes him. He's going to take him to Java. It ends up having to go to Mauritius because there's storms in the shipping lanes. When he gets to Mauritius, which is another British colony, they know that there's an absconder from WA on board.
Oh.
But they refuse to give up O'Reilly. O'Reilly had been with this other guy, like a regular convict. They just give him up. They go, hey, take this one.
He's the guy. They sort of just lie and say,
He's the one you want.
And the other guy, what the?
The other guy's like, what the fuck? But he doesn't say. He still doesn't give up O'Reilly.
Really?
Wow.
The convict code, even though he's been absolutely shafted.
Yep. So O'Reilly then gets put on another ship, another whaling ship. They meet in the middle of the ocean. He gets taken to Philadelphia, where he joins up with like a lot of the Irish Republicans. He ends up in Boston and New York, where he's like writing, doing all this stuff. He's then approached by other Fenians, like, we're going to plan a big breakout. We're going to get more of our guys out of WA. And in I just want to get the exact date for this one. 1876. So he escapes, I think, in 1871. He gets back to America. In 1876, the Fenians, they buy a whaling ship, an American whaling ship, and they put some operatives on board. Like, they cut the fucking power between Fremantle Jail and like Fremantle and Perth. They like get their guys out. They get them on a boat. They take them out to the whaling ship. They get chased by like a British like fucking ship. They sail. They put up the American flag, being like, if you shoot us, it's war with America.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, and then the ships are like, fuck it, we're not doing that. They get back to New York, big party, amazing. But then you know what fucking O'Reilly does? He writes a novel called Moondyne.
Oh.
Based on Moondyne Joe.
Right. How did they cross paths?
Moondyne Joe had escaped in 1868. He came to Perth in 1867, and apparently his escape was partially based off hearing of how Moondyne had escaped.
Right.
It's inspired him, that escape in 1871. So he writes a novel called Moondyne, based on Moondyne Joe, like loosely, in which the character Moondyne Joe escapes from prison, meets up with an Aboriginal group who tell him about a gold mine in WA, which, again, there would be gold in WA. He gets really rich from the mine, becomes a philanthropist in England, comes back to WA, where he meets up with a convict girl and her child, and he dies trying to save him from a bushfire. And then that movie, that novel gets turned into one of the early silent films in 1913.
Wow.
So Moondyne becomes like the second most sort of famous escapees from Perth write a novel about the most famous.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
Love that. What a tale.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Have you seen any of the footage of the 1913?
No, I haven't, but I'd love to
wonder if it still exists.
have a look. I'm sure it must be somewhere.
Yeah, I really hope so.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that's really, really cool.
I just saw there was what's this guy's name? Moondyne.
Moondyne, I think.
Just saying what. So this is what Penny, who suggested it, said, Moondyne Joe was a fun bushranger who didn't kill anyone. He was so good at escaping from prison that eventually the authorities let him go because it was so embarrassing.
Yeah, he just kept escaping.
That's so funny. Oh, also she's written... Oh, there's a Moondyne Festival, but that would be based on the place.
That novel Moondyne, they did readings from it to celebrate its centenary fairly recently, and Peter Rosenthorn, the comedian, is one of the people that read out part of the book.
Oh,
so
wow.
fun.
Yeah.
I can't believe I've never heard of those Fenians buying their own ship, sailing across the world, breaking out their dudes, and then pissing off back home. That's so incredible.
It's an amazing story.
That's so crazy. And then they're like, I love that guy's like, well, rather than write my own story, which is obviously amazing, I'll write about Moondyne.
That Moondyne.
He's my hero. Yeah.
According to Kelly Minchin-Dale from Perth, who also suggested it, she said there's now a pub named after him in Freo as well. That's the highest honour of all.
Well, next time you're there, you'll have to drop in.
I will. I love Freo.
Yeah, cool.
Sick. What a great tale. Thanks so much for telling it, Angus.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Have you
I've looked up
fact-checked?
Moondyne Joe's Bar and Cafe, according to Google Maps, is permanently closed.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry about that. It was
The
described
owners
as...
escaped.
never returned. Described as...
She did suggest it in 2018, so that is...
It's described as roomy venue with a vintage feel, featuring a sports bar, an Irish-style tavern, which Matt absolutely loves an Irish bar, and a bottle shop. It had everything. How could it go wrong?
And so is there a reason why you've been so interested in this topic lately?
Well, I'm doing a show coming up about the early colonisation or founding of Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne. I'm doing the first one. It's September 14th at Hoda on the Gold Coast.
Oh, sick. Oh, that's a great venue. That's
it'll be awesome.
Big art centre.
Yeah, home of the arts. Yeah, which is... we've always said that's on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
I've always said the home of the arts,
and the arts
is just at Surfers on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
That's where you go for the best art. I'll be doing it October 4th or 5th, I think, at Good Chat in Brisbane.
Awesome.
And then at the Elephant and Wheelbarrow as part of the Melbourne Fringe, October, I think, 17th to 19th.
Oh, man, that's so good. So that's why it's so in your head at the moment. You're writing the show, you're getting it down.
Yeah. So if you come along, there'll be this Moondyne Joe story again, but there'll be stories from like Melbourne, about Batman, about Faulkner, about William Buckley, who was an escaped convict who lived with the Indigenous people for 30 years.
Did the whole
You've done that.
Beer Pioneer first season. I've followed his path.
There'll be stories about Edward Wakefield, who was a convict. He never sent to Australia, but he was sent to prison for abducting heiresses. He got addicted to abducting heiresses.
Oh.
He was a rich guy, so he didn't really get much. He should have gone to jail for a long time, actually. But then he came up with his own penal colony system where he thought, you need to colonize Australia, but without convicts. And he thought the problem with Australia was a labour problem. Again, he thought there's too much land. Why people are stealing too much land? Any poor white person can get land, so why would they work for anyone else? So what you need to do is you need to make land so expensive that poor people can't buy it.
Oh, they finally put that into
He would have
action.
loved. He would have loved now.
Yeah,
he would have loved now.
Yeah. He's stoked.
And so that's what Adelaide is based on. What sort of pedophile thought.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a crazy story, and stories about Adelaide and Perth as well. Yeah, more Perth stories. So I'd love to see some listeners of Do go on there.
Is your Good Chat show part of the Caxton Street Festival?
I don't think so. I think it's
That's
just
in
a
October. Oh, cool. I'm up there in October for Caxton Street Festival, doing a Who Knew It and a podcast and a stand-up show, but might not be the same time.
I think I might be just earlier than that. But
Right.
if we're there at the same time, it'd be amazing to cross paths again.
And Angus, what are you calling the show? What's the name of the show?
It's called Outback Outcasts, a comedian's take on the wild beginnings of Perth, Adelaide and Melbourne.
Love that. We'll put some links in the show notes to all those cities if people want to go along. We very much encourage you. Go see a raw comedy winner taking on some Aussie history. That's great.
Yeah. Hannah Gadsby, Angus Gordon, the list goes on.
They all do shows mainly about Aussie history. That wasn't what Nanette was about. It was about one of a convict woman that she met on the road.
Yeah, that's what we all do. We all end up doing those sort of shows.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much for having me, guys. It was really fun.
That was amazing. It was a great story, and I got to say, incredible in the room to see you reel off all those dates and facts and figures from the top of the dome.
But yeah, that makes sense now that I mean, that's what you got to do on stage.
Yes, pretty
Yeah.
soon. So yeah. Well, yeah. If you'd love to see me say things from memory, you can come see me at the show.
Are you doing it in Melbourne or anywhere else?
Yeah, at Melbourne Fringe. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You
No,
didn't
it's
say
okay.
that.
That's okay. Yeah.
The Elephant and Wheelbarrow.
Oh, what a beautiful spot. An English pub.
An English
Feels
pub.
very appropriate.
Yeah, with some Fanian stories.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Angus Gordon, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Well, as we say goodbye to Angus, we say hello to everyone's favourite section of the show where we thank some of our fantastic supporters. And we do this every week. It takes, somewhere between 20 to 40 minutes, usually. Angus has left, but Dave is still here. Dave, are you pumped to thank a few people?
Oh, it's what I live for.
It's so good to do it. And if you want to be one of these people, and if it wasn't for them, the show wouldn't exist. If I can speak plainly for a second.
That's absolutely speaking real.
They have gone to patreon.com/DoGoOnPod, and there's a bunch of different levels. You can get bonus episodes. There's now 4 bonus episodes a month, including a bonus report, a quiz, something like that. Then there is the Do Go On Movie Club, where we watch a different movie every month. The first one happened last month, and we watched Back to the Future, an absolute classic.
Yeah, great times were had.
And also the D&D campaign. There's all that sort of stuff. You also get to vote for topics and you get access to the nicest corner of the internet, the Facebook group. But one of the other things, if you're on the Sydney Scheinberg level or above, you get to give us a fact, a quote, or a question, or a brag, or a suggestion, or really whatever you like at all. And I read them out on the show. Normally read 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Today I've got 2 beauties for you. The first one comes from... Oh, hang on, Dave. Have I forgotten? Does this have a jingle?
It does have a jingle. Fact, quote, or question.
Ding. I always remember the ding. Dave always remembers to sing.
Perfect.
And this week, first up, we've got David, a.k.a. A Place to Hang Your Cape, Malofsky, and his title is Director of Pun Parodies. I think it's the first time we've got one of these. This one's been labelled Challenge, Dave.
Oh my God, throw down the gauntlet.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. And the challenge, let's find out what it is. I have a challenge this time, and it's for Dave. Oh my God, Dave.
Oh, that's me.
I was just getting ready to be challenged. But anyway,
So
that's
this
fine.
is me versus another Dave.
The world.
Mano a mano.
I've made a list of 25 films that have or will come out in 2024. The challenge is to see how quickly Dave can come up with porn parody names for them.
25?
And he's saying in 69 seconds, see how many you can get through.
Okay, I'm with you. I was going to say, okay.
All right.
Do you want to join in too? It's more fun with 2 people going for it. Pardon the pun.
All right. Well, no, I think the challenge is for you. If he challenged me, I would have loved to have been involved. But unfortunately,
So 69 seconds. These are all 2024 movies. Okay, David.
I mean, I think if you get into a rhythm, the first 4, you might really be able to make them work quickly. All right. The time starts when I've read the first movie name.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Rebel Moon Part 1, A Child of Fire.
Rebel Full Moon, and then on the cover it's someone's ass.
Yeah. And it's still Part 1, A Child of Fire. Someone's farting. Number 2, Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scar Giver.
The Scar Giver. The Hand Job Giver.
Rebel Poon, the Hand Job Giver. 3, The Rebel Moon Chapter 1, Chalice of Blood.
Chalice of Cum.
Rebel Moon Chapter 2, Curse of Forgiveness.
A curse of forgiving someone a hand job.
Furiosa, a Mad Max story. Furious hand job. A Mad Jack story.
Mad Jack off.
Madam Web.
Oh, that's the full title. Web.
You got 12 seconds.
I can't think web.
Web, like, isn't that like a thing
Web
for
of
cum?
cum. Madam Web of cum.
Deadpool and Wolverine Final One. Deadpoon. I'm afraid the time is up.
Oh, 69 seconds goes so
It
fast.
does go very quickly.
What would you say? Oh, let's work on Deadpool and Wolverine.
Dead.
A head.
Oh, head poon and woolly vagine.
Woolly vagine. Wolver cream.
Woolly vagine. I was surprised even myself. Why was it woolly?
Why are there part 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the moon one?
What is that? Rebel Moon? I don't know. Anyway, what a great challenge. So
Love that. I'm sorry I didn't do as well as you wanted me to there.
Well, we don't know how well he wanted you to do, but you got through at least. I think I'm claiming 7. That's not a bad score. 7. That's more than. Wait, is that more than 1 every 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did it. And the next one this week comes from Craig Dalgarno, aka Operations Manager of Managing Dugon Operations. And Craig's offering a brag, writing, "Hi team, long time listener, first time subscriber, finally at a place in my life where I can really invest my money in lucrative businesses like keeping the lights on for someone else." And you sure are. You're keeping the lights on, you're keeping the mics on.
Exactly, and that's the way for you to get success yourself.
Yeah.
We are now running a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
You get on the bottom, you work your way up.
Now you're here. My humble brag involves one of you 3. Ooh. Let's see if it's Buddy Dave again. It feels like a Dave day.
Yeah, it's all about me.
I'm part of a band in Perth. A few years ago, we connected our Spotify for artists. One of the features is it shows you who has added your songs to their playlists. We were excited to see that we had been added to Jess Perkins' 30th birthday playlist. 2 of our songs, in fact.
Whoa.
I'm not sure if Jess ever heard the songs, but we had a good little humble brag about it within the group. We are all Jess fans from the Jays, and I'm a big Dave and Matt fan too. Stop it, you're making me blush. I'm hoping one day Bravo Inferno will be able to tour around Australia with Weed Hornet. We've released a bunch of singles the last year or so feel free to check out the new stuff. Humble brag. Thanks for all the years of laughs. Diggsy.
Diggsy from Bravo Inferno?
Bravo Inferno.
That's fucking great, man.
And I wonder, so Jess obviously enjoys your stuff. And she's putting you on a 30th playlist.
Yeah. 2 tracks, not just 1, 2.
Yeah, that
can't be a mistake.
Yeah, first track could be a mistake.
Yeah.
Second track, that's legit. Thank you so much. Oh, that's great. What a shame that Jess isn't here. But I'm sure she's listening. Shout out to you, Jess, who was fine. So thank you so much to Craig and David for those facts, quotes, and questions. Like I say, if you want to get involved in that, sign up on the Sydney Scheinberg level or above. There'll be more of those coming next week. The other thing we like to do, one of the other things we like to do, is a shout-out section, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
We normally come up with a game based on the topic at hand. Could it be their Bushranger name?
I think that's good.
And his was sort of a place he was from. So, I mean, that's what we can work off, but maybe we can add a little bit more pizzazz. Do you want to be the name reader or the name comer up or with a...
I feel like all my energy was gone on porn parodies. And
so we'll flip the script. Okay.
Yeah, if you're up for
Chalice
it.
of Cum was fantastic.
So I would like to thank, first of all, from Queensland, right here in Australia, I'd like to thank, and you can go see Angus Gordon perform live very soon if you're anywhere near Brisbane, Bruce Purvis.
Oh, from Balgal Beach? The Balgal Beach Perv. Bruce Purvis.
I mean, I wish I'd had Bruce Purvis for the porn parody section. Yeah. That's
the Balgal Beach. Bruce the Balgal Beach Perv.
And then they just shorten it to the Balgal Perv.
Yeah. Gal Perv.
Gal Perv. Gal Perv's not a bad name. I like it. Oh, no. You've just been struck by Gal Perv.
Gal Perv.
Gal Perv's
the Gal
just been
Perv
in.
Bandit.
Oh, no. It's Gal Perv.
All right. I think we've got it. Gal Perv Bandit and his gang of bandits.
And pervs.
They're also bandits. And pervs. In brackets, and pervs.
On your Gal Pal Perv. I would like to thank also from... not also. It's from a location that's unknown to us, not supplied, so we can only assume they're deep within the Fortress of the Moles. Thank you to Usman Abbasi.
Oh, the Abbasi Badass.
Oh, that's good.
The Abbasi Badass. That feels good.
Yeah.
Usman is such a great name.
Yeah, I love the name Usman. Usman Abbasi, the Abbasi Badass.
The Abbasi Badass.
Love it. I'd like to thank from Coventry in the West Midlands, in Greatest of Britain's, Samantha Royston.
Oh, the Royston Royal.
Oh, the Royal.
The Royal.
Just the Royal's good, isn't it?
Yeah, the Royal Bandit, the Royal Ranger.
Oh, that's really
Royal
good.
Ranger.
Love it.
Calling card is leaving a cup of tea on a freshly boiled cup of tea for the victim.
Oh, that's nice.
That seems like something a royal would do.
The royals-
Give something away.
Yeah, they love giving. They love giving.
They love to give. They live to give, the royals, especially our queen.
Thank you, Royal.
Lizzie too. May she long reign.
Good on you, Lizzie. I would like to thank from Macclesfield in Cheshire. I would like to thank, this is already a gang of two, Sophie Stock and Aaron Kelly.
Oh, the Stock and Kelly MacDaddies.
Okay.
Stock and Kelly MacDaddies. I mean Kelly gang. That's right.
The Kelly gang.
Stock Kelly and Waterman. Remember Stock?
Yeah.
Hickman and Waterman. Bit of fun. Stock. Stock
Mac
take.
Daddy-
Oh, the Stock take. Yeah, Stock. The MacDaddies. the MacDaddies.
Stock-
The MacDaddy duo. Yeah. Sophie Stock and Aaron Kelly. Powerful combination.
That's
that
really
is.
good. Good on you from Macclesfield. I'd like to thank from Bergen in Norway. Thank you to, and this is all one word. Oh my God. Any relation to Moondyne Joe? Moomin Troll.
Any relation? Both start with moo.
I may have misread it as moon at first, but it is Moom in Troll. All one word. Thank you, Moom in Troll.
The Bergen Vagabonds. Bergen Vagabonds.
The Bergen Vagabond.
The Bergen
What is
Vagabonds.
it? And then you can just shorten it as the Vagabee.
The Vagabee. The Bergen Vagabee.
Oh, that's good.
Bergen Vagabee.
The Bergen Vagabee is
The
struck again.
Bergen. Oh no, the Bergen Vagabee is here.
Oh no, the Bergen Vagabee struck again.
We know they're gentlemen.
Back in town, the Bergen Vagabee.
We know they'll often leave a cup of tea, which they ripped off the Royston Royal,
Yeah, that's right.
the Royal Ranger.
Now, next up, I'd like to thank from Location Unknown again, probably deeper in the Fortress of the Moles, a single word. This is like Madonna, this is Adele, this is Rihanna, this is Erica.
Oh, Erica.
Looks like your surname begins with an M from your Gmail account,
Okay.
in case you want to know this is you. Erica, what do you got?
The Eric Cannibal. The Eric Cannibal.
Wow, you're on fire over there. That's great.
Somebody put me out.
Yeah, jeez.
Eric Cannonball.
Fire alarm's going off in here. That's incredible.
Eric Cannibal or Eric Cannonball?
That-
Two options for you, Erica.
Like when you're robbing a bank. Eric Cannonball!
Yeah. You come in, you bash and crash, or you go in and you eat your victims.
Either way. Or all of the above.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Hey, I'd like to thank from Melbourne, right here where we are right now. Thank you to Brendan Ireland.
Or Brendan Ireland. Brendan Ireland. It's got to be something like the Fighting Irishman or something, right?
Yeah. What about you love Irish pubs? What about just the pub?
Oh, the pub. Oh no, we've been done in by the pub.
The pub's here.
The pub's here.
Pub Robson pub.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you to Brendan Ireland. I would like to thank from Dulwich Hill in New South Wales. Thank you to another Rihanna Adele-esque. It's just Bo.
Oh, bow. The arrow. Bow and arrow. Bow. The arrow.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. The arrow. Hey, where do you get your idea?
Yeah. Pretty good.
Bo?
I had a
Thank you so
waking
much.
dream.
And Bo, I don't know how I can give you a clue as to who you are. You're from Dulwich Hill, and you've got a Hotmail.
That's a strong
You must
clue.
know it's you, Bo. And I would like to thank finally from Colchester in Essex. It's Joel March.
Oh, Joel March. March of Ides. You got the March Madness. The March Madman.
Okay, yeah.
Saints go marching in. The Saint. That's pretty good.
The Saint is really good. I love the Saint.
All right, we'll go the Saint. Thank you so much to Joel, Bo, Brendan, Erica, Moom, Sophie and Aaron, Samantha, Usman and Bruce.
Another great crop.
What a friend. We only have brilliantly named supporters. I don't know, some people are probably holding back saying, I don't know if we can support the show. Our name isn't that brilliant. It becomes more brilliant as soon as you support the show.
Honestly,
that's our guarantee.
Yeah, we put a bit of Raz on you.
Dave, I think that means all that's left to do is the Triptych Club.
Oh my goodness. Now
You're
this is
so
our,
good at explaining this.
it's our theatre of the
Oh,
mind.
well, I'll stop you right there. And I'll ask, can you explain?
You want to explain?
That'd be great.
Right now?
Yeah, why not?
Not 10 seconds ago, but now.
No,
Okay.
and go.
Go. It's the our Hall of Fame, our clubhouse where we welcome and induct people that have been supporting the show on the shout-out level or above for 3 consecutive years. These people, they've already been given a nickname or something a few years back, but to enshrine them forever, we welcome them in. We put their name up on the clubhouse board. You come in, you can not leave, but why would you want to?
No, you can't leave. You're stuck. Well, not stuck. You're allowed, and not only allowed, but you are encouraged. And not only encouraged, you have to stay. You're trapped. You are trapped.
But you're at peace.
You're at peace.
Well, you go to heaven. Do you want to leave heaven?
Yeah, that's
There's no
weird.
exit in heaven because no one wants to leave.
This is heaven on earth.
Exactly.
In your mind.
In our minds. And there's music, there's entertainment, there's food. Now, Jess usually comes up with a food and cocktail based on this week, but Matt, you've been having the honours the last couple of weeks.
Yes. So what was his name again?
Moondyne Joe.
So we're serving Moonshine Joe, we're calling it.
Oh, God, you're on fire.
And, I've been whipping it up in my bathtub at home. And it's potent.
Wow.
Yeah, it'll knock your socks off in a good way. And,
Right.
when you want your socks off.
Yeah.
Not
Have a bit of this?
Not you've just put them on. You're like, oh, great, I'm going to put them back on.
Yeah.
No.
At a convenient time.
Yeah, you're about to go to bed. Your feet are hot. One of these scenarios.
Exactly. Well, have a Moonshine Joe. I love it. Now, I usually book a band
Yeah, who've you got?
to play, and you're never going to believe this. This is actually a band that before Jess went away, she's fine. She sent me a message saying, "Hey, I've just checked out this great new band from Perth. You should book them for the Trip Dish Club."
Oh,
I've actually
really?
reached out, and I can't believe it. They've just got back to me just then saying, "Yeah, we'll be there in a few minutes." This week we've got Bravo Inferno
Holy shit.
playing live.
Oh, that's great. I know Jess loves to celebrate milestone birthdays with them as a soundtrack.
Exactly.
So this works out really well. And I think listeners should look them up on their favoured streaming service or Bandcamp or whatnot. Because, if you want to hear how Jess likes to party, tune in to Bravo Inferno.
Bravo Inferno. And their new single, which just came out in August, it's called Scratch.
Oh,
and they'll be playing that as well as the 2 songs that Jess added to our 30th playlist. They're the first 3 songs. And then from there I said, guys, do what you want.
Okay. Maybe
I trust
a cover.
you. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe cover a few Weed Hornet songs.
Exactly.
All right, so we've got 3 inductees this week, Dave. The way it works is I'm on the door. I read out the name. And Dave will do a bit of wordplay to encourage you in. The crowd will all be cheering. Dave's wordplay is shit, but I think it's on purpose, so it's okay. All right, are we ready?
Yes.
So 3 names, Dave. You ready to go? Here we go. You've already said yes. Here we go. From Sydney, the beautiful harbour city in New South Wales, Australia, it's Brendan Fallon.
Whoa, move over to the Tonight Show. It's Brendan Fallon tonight. You know, Jimmy Fallon, something like that?
He's Fallon good times. No, it is hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
From Omaha in Nebraska, I learned in a crossroad recently, the most populous city in Nebraska in the United States. It's Aaron.
Omaha. It's the funniest person from Omaha, Aaron.
And finally, from Glen Huntley here in Melbourne, Victoria, it's Jemiah Hemphill.
This is a hemp hill I'm willing to die on with you, Jemiah. Come on in.
Welcome in, Jemiah, Aaron, and Brennan. Make yourselves at home. Oh, you are going to want to grab yourself a mug. What do you call those moonshine bottles?
Oh, yeah, what are they
They're
called?
jugs. Something jug.
Growler.
Grab a growler. Go the growl. And come over and listen to the fine musical stylings of Alfa Romeo. Bravo Inferno.
Alfa Romeo opening for them. That's the kind of car that sponsors the club this week.
Yes.
Alfa Romeo.
Sorry, I was confusing our sponsor with our musical act.
Last week was Hyundai, but this week it's Bravo Inferno. Sorry, Alfa Romeo. Fucking hell. It's falling apart here, Matt.
Well, that's the end of the episode. Dave, what do we need to tell people? Please follow us on social media. Do go on pod. And also, we've just put out last month a survey. If you want us to come to your city, find that survey. It's in our links. And yeah, let us know where you want us to come.
Yeah, we need to know where you are. So basically, we get your email, and we're not going to spam you. We'll just send you an email when we're like, hey, we're finally coming to New Zealand, for example. These are the dates. And then we also know that you're going to be there. It's easier for us to hook up with promoters and stuff.
Yes.
Like, look, 200 people from Auckland said they'll be there. Bring us over, that kind of thing. So please do that. Wherever you are in the world, honestly, we'd love to go to Europe. We'd love to tour South America and Asia if we could.
So keen. I want to do an episode under the shadows of the pyramids.
Whoa.
Does that cast a shadow? Is that
Yeah.
shape shadowless?
Yeah, that's
That's
no.
an alien.
Don't forget to sign up to our tour mailing list so we know where in the world you are and we can come and tell you when we're coming there.
Wherever we go, we always hear 6 months later, oh, you should come to Manchester. We were just in Manchester.
We were just there, but this way you'll never miss out. And don't forget to sign up, go to our Instagram, click our link tree. Very, very easy.
It means we know to come to you, and you'll also know that we're coming to you.
Yeah, we'll come to you, you come to us. Very good.
And we give you a spam-free guarantee.